Hi there. So right now what we're going to do is talk about an EMA cross model. Now we're going to be building this in Excel today, but first, kind of on a higher level, what is an EMA cross model? EMA stands for exponential moving average, and this is meaning that it's a moving average, however it puts greater weight on more recent periods. So specifically we'll be looking at the close prices, and this is how the EMAs will be calculated, and there will be two of them together. One will be calling a fast EMA, the other will be calling a slow EMA. Now, an EMA cross is when the fast EMA or the slow EMA change positions from whichever one is higher to being lower. And this will dictate whether or not we enter a trade and exit a trade. And basically, you can think about this as saying if the fast EMA moves above, we are going long. If the fast EMA moves below, we are going short. Now, finally, for this model specifically, our exit will technically be an EMA cross. However, because we don't have any other exit strategy, we will always be exiting a position by entering a new position. And then finally, just for consistency's sake, we'll be using a period of 12, which is what our N will be equal to for our fast EMA, and the slower EMA, always having a period greater than the fast EMA, will be 24. Now, just as a quick tidbit, this is called harmonic pairs for EMAs, meaning that the slow EMA is being twice as large as the fast EMA. For some reason, in backtesting purposes, this is used, we generally find it to be more profitable to be using these harmonic pairs, and this will become more important when we're actually looking at multiple variables in backtesting. Alright, so moving forward, this is a depiction of how our model will actually enter a position. And this blue EMA is a fast EMA, while this orange EMA is a slow exponential moving average. And you can see here how the blue EMA crosses below, and this is us entering short. Now, the mathematics behind an EMA, this is equal to this multiplier here, which is 2 over n plus 1, n is the periods, so it's 12 and 24 for our examples, times the current close price, plus 1 minus the multiplier, times whatever our previous EMA is. Now, it's industry standard to be acceptable for our first EMA to be the current close price. However, after that, we're going to be using this formula for our fast and slow EMAs. And finally, it's important to know that you shouldn't be taking any modeling action until you're given at least 100 periods for the EMAs to develop using old historical data, because when you first start off, the EMAs are going to be very close to each other because there's enough data to really have a significant difference to tell whether the modeling position is good or not. So it's important that you do give it a little bit of space. So getting into it, we're actually going to be calculating it here. I'm going to go to our Excel file. In terms of formatting sake, whenever you're entering something new, title it the correct titles here. We're going to do fast EMAs and slow EMAs. And you should also, for any parameters that you might want to be backtesting in the future, you should put them at the top. So we're going to put 12 here and 24 in here as well. Center these, bold them up here by Control Bold, and also do the background fill as yellow. So this is how any parameter should look if we're actually looking to backtest it. Now, when we're actually using the first two cells here, we want to make them the current close prices. And because these two cells are going to be different from any single other cell within the same column, you want to format these colors as this royal blue here. And that's how you just format the fonts. Otherwise, let's go into the EMA formula. So to start off, we're going to say if 2 divided by n plus 1, n is going to be the fast EMA. And you can hit F4 to give it money signs. We want to lock in the row for this. So that's where we have G5. The G does not have a money sign in front, and the 5 does. This is going to make sure when we copy this formula over to the right, this cell here moves over to be a slow EMA, while it still stays in the 5th row for any of these columns down here. We're going to multiply this by the current close, and here we also want to lock it in, but we want to lock in the F, so just the column. So it's going to always stay in this column when we copy it over. However, it's going to move down with the rows when we copy this down. Then finally what we're going to do is do 1 minus. We're going to do the multiplier again. And you can just copy and paste this over because it's the exact same thing. close that up, and then multiply it by the previous one. And this previous one, G11, does not have any absolute references whatsoever. So just checking that this works, copy and paste it down to each one of these, and all of these should stay exactly how they should be. So we got the close, our previous one's falling down with it, and then this is always locked in. Over here, you can see the close is still marked here for F14. It's still using the previous EMA, but it moved the period up here. So you can see that's working. Recopy it over. To do this quickly, you can go over to the left, Control down 1, right arrow key 1, Control Shift up, and then hit Enter, and you can see it copied all correctly. Now what we're going to do is add in a model position. So for the model position, this is going to be pretty simple, but we're going to use some if statements and statements. Go down to the 100th cell here, because our EMAs haven't developed, so it wouldn't make a lot of sense using anything before that. And we're going to write some nested if statements. First, what we want to start off with is an and statement. So actually no, we want to say if the fast EMA is greater than the slow EMA, then we're going to say long. And if value false, if the fast EMA is less than the slow EMA, we're going to say short. Otherwise, we're going to say none. All right. Throw this down the columns, and we can see here we have our longs and our shorts for our model position. Now finally, what we're going to do is our model action. Now for our model action, this is going to be three if statements put together. So here we're going to need an and statement to say if both of these things are true, then we're going to do this. So if the current model position is not equal to, that's what the two less than or and greater than signs put together means not equal to. They're not equal to the previous model position, and this is a long. Put that in there. Close this and statement. We're going to say enter a long position. Otherwise, if and this is not equal to the previous model position again, so the same thing as the first thing, and this is a short. Oops, I can't type. Then we're going to say enter a short position. Otherwise, we're going to say none, and close these up. So just to make sure that this is working for us, see here it's long, 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 long. Then finally we get to here where it says short. Then we want to enter a short position. Going down here it says long, so we're entering a long position. So you can see at all points in time we are always going to be in a single position. So that really covers how you make your first EMA cross model. In the future, we're going to be going over how to build a stop loss in, and then how you can actually build returns from there.